Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, as the Adobe Summit is now officially underway, it is also incredibly hard to find a quiet place anywhere. And any podcaster that has come to Vegas will tell you, it's a podcasting nightmare. I mean, there are people talking, banging, singing, not to mention the speakers that are pumping music or ambient sounds everywhere. And regular listeners will remember that I recorded a poolside interview here. I think it was around 2 or 3 years ago, just to escape the noise. But the soft sounds of Kenny G could still be heard in the background. But while I'm here, I've heard that Hootsuite were making some pretty big announcements and tried to dig a little deeper so I could pass on the news to everyone listening to this daily podcast in 165 countries. And as this is a tech show rather than a marketing show, for those that don't know, Hootsuite is the leader in social media management, trusted by more than 18 million customers. Hootsuite is the most widely used social media platform. They have over 16 million customers and are recognised as a leader in social media management by Forrester. But it's not just today's announcement with Adobe that I find exciting. I'm also quite excited about meeting Penny, who's not only the CMO at Hootsuite, but is also a customer advocate, marketer, technologist, team builder, lover of lifelong learning, brain science and outdoor adventures. So she sounds like the perfect person to sit down for 30 minutes and grab a coffee with at this year's Adobe Summit. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Vegas so you can join me in a conversation with Hootsuite CMO Penny Wilson, who's waiting for us live on the show floor at the Adobe Summit. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Penny. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
I sure can. Thank you, Neil. So I'm Penny Wilson. I am the Chief Marketing Officer at Hootsuite. In my role at Hootsuite, I run global marketing. I run all of our digital growth side of the business. So that's all selling that doesn't touch a customer and customer support. So I really get the opportunity to see the whole customer journey that way.
So Hootsuite is the most widely used social media platform and I recognise as a leader in social media management by Forrester, one of the most influential research and advisory firms in the world. But can you bring our international audience up to speed with a little overview of the long list of problems that you solve for your customers?
Yeah, I sure can. So I would say they kind of fall into 4 categories. So the first one would be, customers who are wanting to build and manage and protect their brand. So, it's an efficient way to distribute content and to build your brand and to understand who your customers are. So that's one of the problems that we solve. The second one is really a scalable way to engage with customers and build stronger relationships with your customers. And then the third thing would be around driving a business return or getting a return on investment in social media itself. So it could be on the marketing side, it could be social selling, it could be on recruiting. There's multiple ways to get a return from your investment in social. And then the last one is about really allowing that customer engagement to be and social to be that golden thread that can run and build a consistent customer experience throughout your organization.
So we're here at the Adobe Summit in Vegas, where Hootsuite has just announced a partnership with Adobe. Can you tell everyone about that big news?
Well, actually, we've been a premier exchange partner with Adobe for over a year. So, and we already have 6 different integrations with Adobe. Our announcement, which is our integration with the Adobe Experience platform, so we're linking right into their unified profile and really being able to add social data in order to improve that overall understanding of your customer. So that's our big announcement, but we're also part of some of Adobe's big announcements around their ODI initiative, their Open Data Initiative, and we're going to be one of the early partners that will be part of that effort.
So What really excites you about how this partnership is evolving, and what kind of opportunities do you think it'll open up, not only for Adobe and for Hootsuite, of course, but for your customers too?
Well, I think that, this is where the rubber meets the road when you talk about the panacea of a marketer of wanting that unified customer profile. We've talked about it for a long time, and it's really the integration of big data along with marketing, and really it should give us better ability to target, better customer experience, understanding the whole customer journey, integration into the campaign. So I feel like we're just at this amazing time of integrating information about our customers in a way that can improve our understanding of them, make sure that we can give them what they're looking for, make sure we can personalize for them, and I think that's a huge step for marketing.
So spending on digital marketing in the US alone is expected to top $100 billion for the first time this year, nearly double the spend of just 5 years ago. So why do you think marketers are so invested in digital right now?
Well, I think that's probably because that's where the customers are. Yeah. That one's a pretty simple one.
Yeah.
And you have to go where your customers are. And, back to what I was saying earlier, I mean, digital offers us an ability that we've never had before to understand who they are, what they want, and also to make it social in particular makes it a two-way conversation. So we're not always on send, and it's actually more important for us to be on receive now and really listening and incorporating that voice of the customer into everything that we do.
So for everyone listening that's unable to attend this year's Adobe Summit, can you tell me what they missed from your session on how to unlock the value of social and achieve ROI beyond marketing?
Sure. A little Coles Notes version. Coles Notes is something that people have in Britain. It might be very Canadian. So I talk about three things. First of all, I talk about social today and what are some of the key trends that you need to watch for. So things like messaging. Yeah. Privacy has really driven our customers into a world where it's harder for people to communicate with them, so you have to be very appreciative of the privacy concerns that those customers have. The second is around the need for personalization and therefore sort of changing the way that we build content. And the third one would be, understanding that you have to be authentic in those worlds. And so I talk a little bit about the different trends that are happening today. I talk about tomorrow. So really the fact that social is moving outside of the marketing organization, and it's really an opportunity for marketers to be champions for that cause. And there's three ways that I talk through about really should be in your consideration set in the short term. The first one is about using your employees as advocates. And I think it's the Edelman 2019 Trust Barometer that was just published that says that people they have more trust in employees than they have in research analysts, in journalists. So using your employees as the voice of your customer is going to be a really important opportunity for most organizations. And I give great examples of our customers who are doing this and the great outcomes that they have received. And then I talk about making sure that you do put customers at the center of everything that you do. And then I also I kind of move out of the customer world into the data world and talk a little bit about the importance of ecosystem and data and really understanding that there's an opportunity to put IQ into your data from social, but there's also an opportunity for you to put EQ into your data from social, so that emotional quotient. Most people make decisions not based on all the information. They make 80% of the time you make a decision based on how you feel, but yet companies only integrate statistical data. They don't integrate any kind of emotional level data. And then I talk the last thing I talk about is measurement and making sure you can measure along the way. And social's moved way beyond likes and retweets, etc. And there's lots of ways we can measure it from a business outcome perspective. So it could be in terms of revenue, it could be in terms of efficiency, it could be in terms of risk mitigation. But it needs to be balanced with what the customer outcomes are. It can't be all about what the business wants. It has to be balanced with what the customer wants, which is oftentimes they want you to inspire them. They want to find out more information about you. They want to be, they want you to answer them right away. So it needs to be a balance between the business outcomes and the customer outcomes. It needs to be a win-win opportunity for both in order for your strategy to be successful.
So it is a big question, but what do you think the secret is in delivering that unified customer experience with social media that we're hearing a lot about at the moment?
Well, I kind of would go back to what I was saying. I think social media an opportunity. I mean, 1 million people are being added to social media every day. We have 3.5 billion people on social, and it's an opportunity to not only statistically understand the dynamics of all of that information, but also emotionally understand the dynamics of that. And I think as social is a unique channel in being able to deliver some of the emotional understanding, the sentiment of how customers are feeling about certain things that I feel can be very influential and really provide a competitive advantage to a lot of companies.
Now, one of the things I look forward to at this event is having so many experts and professionals from multiple industries all sharing insights on how they're solving the same problems regardless of what industry they're working in. So from the conversations that you've been having and what you've been hearing, what are the big trends that you're seeing and how do you think they're going to shape social in 2019?
That's a good question because there is a lot of smart people at this conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would say that I see the future in 4 ways. I think the future of customer experience in general is becoming customer-led rather than brand-led. I think that we're moving from customer experience to the age of the individual, and there's an expectation that you are going to that they're going to be more in control of their destiny than we are in helping control their destiny. So, you see that when you see customers moving into Messenger, they want a private source. There's still ways in which brands can interact with customers in that private space, but they have to be more thoughtful, more personalized, more directive to that individual in order for them to give somebody the ability to do that. And then I think artificial intelligence will also change that. It'll give us an opportunity to get people to someplace faster. And really, I don't see artificial intelligence as an opportunity to replace people with robots. I see it as an opportunity to really help our customers get to what they're looking for faster. So I would say the future of customer experience will change. I think the future of content is changing. We talked about earlier, I think it's needs to become more personalized. We need to move as marketers from really storytelling to story living. We need to be comfortable in a world like we are right now, sort of much more casual, having a conversation, not really super polished. And it also needs to be more scalable. So, we used to create a video for this or create a piece of content for that, but now we have to create a content in ways where once we understand what people are looking for, we can pull the pieces together and combine it and deliver it in a very personalized way. And then I think the future of advertising will change as well. I think privacy will play a big role. I think that it will become more consent-based, so that customers will have to provide consent for you to advertise. And so in order to do that, you have to be really more value-driven. You have to be offering something of value for them to consent for you to advertise to them. So I think the paradigm of advertising will begin to shift. And then I think I've referenced it a couple of times, but not to be boring, but I do think that the future of data intelligence is that combination of understanding emotion as well as understanding just information.
So is there anything else that you can share with us today about what the future holds for Hootsuite, or...?
The future is never dull for Hootsuite, Neil. We live in a very interesting space. We're always capitalizing on opportunities. We consider ourselves, we've been around the longest. We've been, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and so we're pretty excited about the knowledge that we have and the directions that we're going.
Well, I'm sure everyone listening will know all about you and have all your details, but for those international listeners that may not be as familiar, could you just remind them of where they can find you online, and also maybe contact a member of your team if they've got any questions?
Sure. So you can find me at Hoot Penny. So it's HOOTPENNY, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Penny Wilson. And you can always contact at Hootsuite or at Hoot Business or at Hoot Support, and somebody on my team will get back to you.
I can only imagine how busy you must be here at the summit, but I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to come and speak with me today.
It was nice to meet you.
The Hootsuite and Adobe partnership is a pretty big deal from what I can see, especially because these integrated solutions allow brands to bring social to their omni-channel campaigns. And also, of course, I love talking about unlocking the value of social and how to achieve ROI beyond marketing. And again, like I said yesterday in a conversation with Deloitte, it's not about tech, it's not about buzzwords, it's now about value, results, ROI. And that's what I'm finding exciting about this year's event. But over to you, please. This show is about getting great guests on and me sharing my opinion, but I also want to hear yours too. So email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, and carry on the conversation. But I'm afraid we've reached the end of another episode, and I'll return tomorrow with another great guest. So as always, a big thank you to today's guest, and even bigger thank you for you listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.